And we are live. Yes, we're live on Let's Think Podcast. I'm your host, Sheikh 7 Islam. My co-host, Brother Jarvis McGriffell, will be in shortly. But first, allow me to remind y'all, please shop with the Fez dealer. Please get your urban Islamic Sufi experience. Shop FezDealer.com. You can contact him on Instagram. It's Sheikh Fez Sufi. You can check him on Facebook as well. It's the Fez dealer. However, don't forget to shop with the Fez dealer. Yes, and allow me to rise, giving all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. Highest honors to his holy prophet. Honors to the forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to my leadership, Brother L. Portis L. and Grand Sheikhs, Sister M. Portis L. I give honors to all leadership, past, present, and future. I give honors to all participating in the comprehensive program of uplifting for all of humanity, and I extend that same honors to all of you. Peace. So, man, first and foremost, listening audience, everybody in the chat, I apologize. My tardiness is my fault. I locked my keys in the car, so I had to take a moment and go through the trials and tribulations to get all of those things done. I got back in the car. I got back to the station, and we here. So do me a favor, hit that like button. Please share to your social medias. Please share to your social media so everybody know that we on. Because sometimes we come in late and people may lose confidence that we even gonna be here. So please share to your social medias. Hit the like button so we can hit the algorithm, and let's go. So tonight we have in the building. Oh yeah, my brother C. Naraine-El, Christopher Naraine-El. And I said Christopher because that's my name too. It's a great name to have. It's a great name to have. So I think we should all be prepared for what this brother has to offer. Islam, Islam, Islam. So, brother Naraine-El, what's going on today, brother? How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Praise the Lord for being able to be here, and honors to you for having me on, and allow me to take this moment in time to give honors to my leadership, Brother R. Jones Bay, and my Grand Sheik, uh, who is, you already know that, Brother Anael-Bey, who's the
Brother.
National Press Secretary of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Yes.
And honors to the viewers, because the viewers are what makes this happen, makes it possible. I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed to be here, and I think that the subject we got going today is going to be maybe touch A for some of my brothers and sisters, but we're gonna dive right in.
Well, let me ask a question first and foremost.
Right.
Let me ask a question. Now, the topic is ancient Mexico and the ancient Moorish Empire connection, right?
Right.
And we've already had the discussion that it's going to be multiple parts of this presentation, right?
Correct.
Exactly. But give people a little bit of your background so they can understand why you choose this topic and to, expose this history that is, basically been hidden and not told.
Very suppressed. So I come from a what most people will call a multicultural background, family. Um, I was born and raised in Southern California, San Bernardino to be exact. I grew up around mainly
Hmm.
Mexicans or the Chicano culture. I grew up adhering to the Chicano culture, and being of Mexican descent, Puerto Rican descent, and Peruvian descent, all mixed in one. But basically, my whole life, I've been
Hmm.
around. I've always identified as being Mexican. I grew up around Mexicans, and so context was, I didn't come into this knowledge of ancient history in Mexico by chance. And I didn't believe a lot of the things that I was hearing when I came into the Moorish Science Temple of America. So it's through study, actual study and research that it brought me, and I'm like, oh wow, if I didn't know it, a lot of my people don't know about it. And so I wanted to bring this to a platform where people can understand this ancient and suppressed history. It's suppressed for a reason. And the thing is, it's been
Absolutely.
happening since the 16th century, 15th century. And, a lot of the roots of these separations began in the Iberian Peninsula, which is modern day Spain and Portugal, you know.
Absolutely.
And so, it's always been my whole life. I grew up in the streets of San Bernardino, Southern California, and it was always a thing. So-called black versus so-called brown. And for me, I didn't grow up like that. My mother didn't teach me any of that stuff. So for me, I never understood why we were at each other's throats, why we didn't like each other. So it's always been a passion of mine to try to bridge that gap and bridge that divide with actual history, because we all have the same ancestors, whether we want to agree upon it or not. Truth is truth. Opinions are everybody can have an opinion, but opinions do not trump truth.
Absolutely.
Or facts for that reason.
Absolutely. So see the wonderful thing about about what you are about to demonstrate is the fact that it's a sensitive topic for everybody,
Correct. Yep.
especially in this day and time and what's going on right now in the social construct of America. So I think it's a very, very great subject matter to touch on right now with all the things surrounding, you know, that particular name, Mexico, Mexican. And I think it's something that will help us bridge a gap between, you know, us, American Asiatics, Moorish American Asiatics, and those in Mexico, So, and because we always got to understand all this is the Americas.
All of it, yeah. And we're all Asiatics.
Yes, sir. So, and we are Asiatics, and I said that just, got to
Well,
get away from that word. So,
it's context. It's context because a lot of us don't understand. So
right,
I
exactly.
yeah.
So, let me go ahead and get you pulled up, man. I know we definitely going to get straight into it. My computer. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Okay. We got it. Yes, sir. Here we go.
So this is the title page. And I entitled it, Mexico, the Moorish Connection, Part 1. We said, we will be having multiple parts to this. It's the
Yes, sir.
Afro-Asiatic origins and influence of Mexico. And I notice I said Afro-Asiatic origins and influence of
Absolutely.
Mexico, the caste system and reclassification of the indigenous populations. And I say, I said indigenous populations because for one of the things that a lot of those who consider themselves Chicano or Mexican don't understand is that when the Spaniard first came here, or the European first came here, or Spaniard is European, when they first came here, they saw brothers and sisters that are as dark as you and as light as me.
Absolutely.
And they considered us all indigenous. or Indios?
Ooh.
100%. So we can go to the next slide. And I wanted to say, I'm starting off with recent history. Recent as in the past maybe 200, 300 years of recent history, because to start in a fresh standpoint, I guess you can say, and then travel backwards to
More
the
ancient
Iberian
time.
Peninsula, ancient Moorish Spain, the connection to Africa and the Iberian Peninsula, the connection between the Iberian Peninsula and the Americas. And not only that, but there were other, documented voyages that happened from the West Coast to Africa to these shores as well. And I'll be getting into that too. But I just wanted to start with recent history, so to speak.
And it's great. It's great to do that. Let me tell you why. Because what it does is you're actually tracing back. You see, you're taking them from the most the most remote recent particular history that connects to these particular issues, and you're taking them back further. So I think that's a great thing to do. So yeah, because some people like to place, and some people like to see ancient things with modern eyes.
Right.
And when that begins to happen, they place things out of context and we just all over the place. So I think that's a great thing that you're doing, brother. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, man. And this is, hey, this is definitely going to be something that I'm probably going to get messages over, but you can't deny
Well,
truth.
let's go.
So we could go to the next slide if you're ready.
Yes, sir. We did.
So the second president of Mexico, his name was Vicente Guerrero. And I'm going to read what I have here. Vicente Guerrero, he was born in 1782 and he passed form in 1831. He became Mexico's second president and first president of African descent. Born in Tixla, Mexico, next to Acapulco, he was born to Juan Pedro Guerrero, who was of African and Spaniard descent, and his wife, Guadalupe Saldana, who was indigenous and Spaniard. Guerrero's commitment to equality and freedom, which was heavily influenced by his ancestry, led him to sign a decree abolishing slavery in Mexico. The state of Guerrero in Mexico was named in his honor. Now, there's a book that illuminates. It's called The Long Walk, or it's called Black and Brown: The Long Walk South, by Gerald Horne, and it illuminates the struggles, or I guess you can say the freedoms that a lot of enslaved Africans found in Mexico, and the fact that we also had, I guess you can say, freed slaves, or those who became free by going to Mexico, who fought in the Mexican-American War. They also fought. Another thing that a lot of it's not really heard of is we hear about the Civil War. We hear about North versus South. We hear about the Underground Railroad North, but we very little hear about the railroad that went south, and the fact that you had the Mexican military that was also fighting the Confederates from the South. And a lot of those in the Mexican military had African ancestry and were escaped or freed slaves as well. Yeah, it's very unheard of, and this is the thing. Like, I know I'm gonna I guess you could say borrow from my grand Sikh, right? And say, you might not want to agree with what we're saying, but if you look at the bottom there, there's the sources where I'm getting this information from, and every single slide is going to have that. And so it's not really to argue with me, argue with the experts. The experts are the ones. There's literal I guess you can say essay papers or that have been
White
written.
paper. They call that white papers, peer-reviewed papers.
There you go. Peer-reviewed papers that have
Yes,
been
sir.
written about what has gone on and the fact that, and this is one of the reasons why I said the origins of Mexico,
Mm,
the African origins of Mexico. Because we
mm,
said Guadalupe Hidalgo was the first president. And in his reign, he also did put a clause in there for abolishing of slavery. When slaves became 14 years old, they were freed. Vicente Guerrero
mm,
came in and said, we're just going to make him free. We're just going to abolish it all altogether, you know.
mm.
So that's, the origins of, I mean, even we're going to get into it, but even in the state of California, a lot of the cities in California were founded by what we would consider Afro-Mexicans, So it's
Mm.
very, for me, it's very important to accentuate this because of the racial divides that we have, especially in California, Southern California to be more exact. Because there's no reason for us to have them. We should see our history and learn from our history, because when we don't learn from the history, we're doomed to repeat it. And right now is crucial to learn from our history, especially with what's going on all across our nation right now. Um,
Absolutely, because right now, I sense that they're striving to create this great divide, which they
right.
already have, but they're doubling down on it. So I think this is great information for you to bring out right now, especially when it comes to, that, as I said before, was American Asiatics and the Mexican Asiatics.
100%. On top of the fact that our illustrious prophet, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, reportedly went to Mexico.
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
And, and when he came back with what is called the topil, which is only given to spiritual rulers.
Whoa.
Uh, and the flag of Mexico, or what they considered then at the time was the governor's flag.
Mm.
So I mean that is, for me, that's very, very important that happened and that he was honored with the topil and the governor's flag, because that speaks a big language. It means that we all know that he went down to Cuba. So that
Absolutely.
means that whatever he did in Cuba, I'm pretty sure he did in Mexico too,
Absolutely.
you
Because his
know,
mission was the same everywhere.
everywhere. Because it's a universal doctrine that can be taught to all nations throughout the world, but it starts with us here in America.
Absolutely.
100%. Next slide.
Islam,
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 boy.
Islam,
Islam.
family. How y'all doing tonight?
We here, brother. We here, brother. Boy. We'll talk about it later, brother. But let's keep. But everybody in the chat, we got Josh McGriffell here. We got Josh
Islam,
McGriffell here.
Islam, Islam,
Islam,
family.
Islam.
That was me in the
So,
back chat. My bad.
all is well. All is well.
Emiliano Zapata. This is big for me, because this is what we would consider, especially in the Chicano culture, somebody who is folklore, somebody who we look up to. You have a lot of Chicanos and Mexicans that actually have tattoos of Emiliano Zapata on them somewhere. And he was the leader of the revolution. Um, and a lot of, we all look up to him, just like we look up to Geronimo. And a lot of Chicanos or descendants of Mexico may not know, because they haven't done the research or they just haven't been told, that he was of African ancestry. He had African ancestry. So Emiliano Zapata, he was born in 1879 and he passed form in 1920. And this is, he was assassinated. That's how the
Mm.
revolution ended. El Tigre del Sur, that's what they called him, the Tiger of the South, has traditionally been of mestizo heritage, reflecting a mix of indigenous and European ancestry. However, there are many scholars and incredible sources that suggest Zapata also had African ancestry, including research that suggests that 3 out of 4, or 2/3, of his grandparents were African. Historical accounts also claim he was an Afro-Indian revolutionary. Further research suggests that Anael-Bey, I don't know how to pronounce that city correctly, Morelos, Mexico, had a significant African population during the time that Zapata and his entire family would have lived there. I'm not sure if that still rings true today, but I do know that Morelos, the basis, we can actually get into that. The basis of Morelos also comes from the Iberian Peninsula. And oh, I lost my spot. Okay. And for me, and for all of my, my Mexican brothers and sisters throughout, the nation, down in Mexico, and even in other countries, one of the things that we should be asking ourselves is, why would we hold Emiliano Zapata to such a high regard, and then mean mug, our brothers and sisters from Africa on the street when we're walking by, or fight. We want to fight, or we don't want our daughters to marry, or we don't want our sons to marry. And let's just be real. It's a big problem, especially within the Mexican community. I can't really speak about other quote unquote Latino or Hispanic communities, but for the Mexican community, it's a big thing. And we have to erase these barriers, because we all have African ancestry. Look at our heroes. They all had African ancestry. I don't know if the brother's there or not, but whenever you're ready,
I'm most definitely here.
Okay, we could go to the next slide.
Yes, sir.
Jose Maria Morelos y Pavon was a pivotal military leader in Mexico's War of Independence. So this is when they're fighting for independence from Spain. Born in Valladolid, now Morelia, he is often described as having mixed heritage, including African roots. Historical records identify Morelos as a pardo, a term used to denote individuals of European, indigenous, and African descent. The state of Morelos, Mexico, was named in honor of Morelos by President Benito Juarez in 1869. Now, one thing that stands out to me about the term pardo is that the current president of Mexico, her name is Presidente Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo. What does that say about her?
Say it again.
The current president of Mexico, Presidente Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo. That's her name, Pardo. And in the 15th and 16th century, Pardo was used as a term to denote or dehumanize individuals of European, indigenous, and African descent, mixed descent. So what does that say about the current president of Mexico?
Ooh.
And the thing is that she has a high rating amongst Mexicans here on this side of the border and on the other side of the border. She is held in high regard at this point in time, that she's done massive work in bringing Mexico up. So, we can go to the next slide. Now, getting to the origins of the surname or Suriname Morelos, because this is very important, very, very important. The family name Morelos finds its origin in the Iberian Peninsula, commonly referred to as Moorish Spain. In a region called Morelos, which means blackberries or mulberries, the name may be a variation of the Galician name Morelo, a nickname that comes from the diminutive Mauro, which means Moor.
Whoa. Say it again.
Right
Give
there.
it to him again. One more time.
The origins, really, really, and we got to think about this because there's an entire uh, state. I think it's a state, Morelos, in Mexico, named Morelos, right? Origins of the surname Morelos. The family name Morelos finds its origin in the Iberian Peninsula, commonly referred to as Moorish Spain, in a region called Morelos, Morelos, which means blackberries or mulberries. The name may be a variation of the Galician name Marelo, a nickname that comes from the diminutive Moro, which means Moor.
It only makes sense.
It only makes sense.
So you have Emiliano Zapata, who was, his entire family lived in the state of Morelos, Mexico, when he was born, during his time here on Earth. And then you have a military leader, who helped in the independence of Mexico from Spain, and his last name Morelos, right? And he had the state that was named after him, and he also was African descent. So you literally have a state. This is what I mean. Origins. Remember in the beginning, the first slide, I said origins of Mexico, the Afro-Asiatic or the Afro-Mexican origins. The state originated from the descendants of the Moors, plain and simple.
And one thing I would like to note too is that when we look at this from a chronological perspective, we have to understand that Spanish is Spaniard.
Spaniard. Yep.
And these people that we know as Mexicans, this language was given to them.
It is what we would consider, what many activists, like those in the Brown Beret organization, would call a colonizer language.
Absolutely.
So, and then you have, and that's the thing, is you have those who, they have a term called no sabo kids, where you don't understand Spanish. You should be ashamed of yourself because you don't speak Spanish or you don't understand Spanish. And it's like, okay, well, what if we know our native tongue? What if we know Nahuatl or Arawak, or, you know what I mean? Or many of the other languages that made up the lands of America. And I say America as in North, South, Central America, because it's all America.
Absolutely.
Behind in the map that's behind the words on this slide is the map of the Iberian Peninsula, the region in the Iberian Peninsula that was where the name Morelos comes from. And I got that map from the borders and districts of Galicia from ForgottenGalicia.com. So it took me, and just to be honest, it took me a while to find that map too.
Of course.
I bet you it did, especially how they hide it.
They didn't want you to see that.
Nah, they try to bury that.
Yeah.
I actually found it from reading another paper that was written by a professor at I want to say Prairie H&M University. Next slide. Estevanico the Moor, born in 1500 and passed form in 1539.
Short-lived.
Very short-lived. Known as Mustafa, as in Mori.
What?
Or Esteban de Dorantes was an enslaved African Moor from North Africa who played a pivotal role in the exploration. I put that in quotations because we know it wasn't an exploration. It was an order issued by a palpable bull.
Right.
Whoa.
A wartime effort.
Yes, sir.
He played a pivotal role in the exploration of the Americas. He was praised for his ability to communicate with various indigenous tribesmen, effectively facilitating communication between the explorers and the native peoples. His knowledge of the customs and practices of the people led him to be a useful mediator for the explorers to be able to pass peacefully. This is very important. Why? How would an enslaved Moor from North Africa know of the customs and practices of the people who lived in these lands if there had not been travel and intermingling and trade pre-Columbus?
Absolutely.
Facts.
That's facts.
Amalgamation, marriages. If there was no, we hear it all the time. Didn't no Africans come here? Nobody came here from Africa. That's never happened. I see it all the time. You know, especially online, they have a term that they want to call, say, wabo, a wannabe Indian, or a wannabe this. That's what they want to label. You know, some of our brothers and sisters from Africa, from a indigenous or a Chicano standpoint. This right here blows it all out the water. This right here blows that whole wannabe theory out of the water. Like, I see my grand sheet right there. Like my grand sheet likes to say, we have been taught to think either or instead of both and.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. And this presentation is what's happening, is further exposing the both and.
Mm-hmm.
That part.
It's further exposing it. And what it's doing here, right here, what it's doing is showing the distinguishment between Spaniards and what we know as Mexican. Because many of us in America just, commonly tie Spaniard to Mexican, not understanding that Spaniard is actually attached to Portugal and Spain.
100%.
This is going to be an educating measure for a lot of people, bro, because the common narrative that we are under now, it blends the two when there's actually a point of distinction.
A huge point of distinction, and even for those in Mexico of Mexican descent, because, and again, like I literally towards the end of this presentation, I'll be getting more into the whiteness of the Mexican community or the Chicano community, and it all finds its roots in a system that was presented by the Spanish. So you have hundreds of years later, you have those of Mexican descent who will say, well, we are Spaniard. And on one side of things, yeah, we are. A lot of us are mixed with Spaniard. But we also have our native identity too, our indigenous identity too, our Moorish identity as well, that some of us either have forgotten or never knew about.
Most never knew about, bro.
Say that.
Most never knew about, just like we never knew about.
I want to say something really, really quick. I don't even want to jump in on this. I just really want to listen, because first and foremost, like I'm like my face about to break because I'm grinning ear to ear, right? This is dope. This is dope. But this is what I wanted to say to your point, brother Naraine-El. First of all, Islam to all of you. Right?
Wow.
What I wanted to say is I was just having this conversation with one of my students just before I ended class earlier, and we're talking about European students. We're just talking about the end of Western imperialism.
Yes.
The end of Western imperialism, right? The end of Western dominance in the world, and how the whole world is shifting right now. This conversation is so important. And the point you made about the difference between Spaniard and Mexican is big, and how many of us here will conflate the two and put them together.
Absolutely.
Well, again, that stems from this issue in psychology and sociology of how racism and white supremacy protects itself. Its biggest armor is pretending it's invisible or it's normal. So it's almost as if it never happened. It's just how things are.
It just is the way it is.
So it tends to erase the colonialism piece out of your collective memory.
And hence the Spanish Inquisition.
Correct. Then you never look at something like the Spanish Inquisition as a way to terrorize people out of how they thought.
Let me tell you something. And being you saying that, why wouldn't it be when it's titled the Spanish Inquisition? What does that actually say?
Correct.
See,
remember they wanted to relabel it the Age of Exploration.
Manifest destiny.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Woo. There you go.
A peanut.
Whoa, that was whoa.
I discovered
I discovered
the Age of Exploration. But let's think about this. And I'm gonna let and we're not gonna stop the presentation. But listen, the Age of Exploration. Let's think about this.
Right.
When we talk about Asiatics,
yes,
us, how long have we been exploring? What? So in that sense, who is it the Age of Exploration for?
Oh, of course. Exactly, brother. So Age of Exploration synonymous with Age of Discovery.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Right. And Age of Exploration is Age of Discovery. And Age of Discovery is called Age of Discovery because of what? Doctrine of discovery.
Absolutely.
Doctrine of discovery. See
Absolutely. That? Absolutely. Whoa.
But again, the true context is it was palpable during wartime. It was a wartime effort.
Yes, sir. Definitely wartime conceit. Absolutely.
And
Papillon Bull states that.
One of the biggest misconceptions is that that only happened to the Africans. It only happened to them. They was
it was just commerce.
It was just commerce. See? They say, well, we didn't go through that. Well, maybe you weren't put in physical chains, but your mind was.
Come on now.
You know that.
That's why.
But now
that's why you grow up.
Watch this, brother Naraine-El. Maybe you didn't go through it, but you accepted their teachings.
Whoa.
And turned away from your ancestors.
You accepted their teachings, so you think that way too.
Yep.
Boom. And that's why we see this.
Wait a minute. Oh, man. Hey, yo. Because see, I would tell you what happens when people's mind read that question and answer when it says,
what people represent the lower self?
Yes.
Those who accept the teachings, those who are cast out of the holy city, and those who accept the teachings.
And what does "and" say?
It's inclusive.
It's inclusive. So it actually distinguishes two sets of people.
There you go. Some people didn't go through it, but they believe it anyway.
There you go. There you go.
And that's what plagues a lot of the quote unquote Chicano and Latino community today. I ain't to say we, but they rather be closer to the European than to their own people.
Ain't that crazy?
It's all social narrative, though.
Yeah.
That's why we're trying to correct it.
And
Let's go.
this is the time to correct it, because the narrative that holds Eurocentrism to be the proxy of humanity is on its way out.
Oh yeah.
So this is the time to correct it.
Not to take it to another direction, but I don't know if y'all been looking at what's been going on in Arkansas right now.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Talk about it.
So they just had a national farmers meeting.
Woo!
And they're saying how the tariffs are chewing them off the bone.
Literally, brother.
Chewing them off the bone to the point that people are sailing on smoother seas, if you get my drift.
Brother, it's about to get... Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Listen, this is my brother Naraine-El's thing, man. I'm just happy to see him cooking, bro. I'm gonna let this brother cook. You know what I'm saying?
It's what's going on in Arkansas. You know, I was watching. I saw one of the farmers. She said 5 of her customers went to sail on smoother seas, and I saw another farmer said she said, you know, my son was supposed to be 7th-generation farmer. He ain't gonna be.
Nope.
And then I went to the comments on one of those videos, and you know, the first comment said they will keep on voting against their own interests.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah. They'll rather see it burn than to shift to somebody else's hands and know what they're doing.
What did our prophet say? He said he's going to look death in the face until he gives it up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, another thing that stands out to me, I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers, and I told him, I said, you know, there was, you know, a prophet that said one day all the wheels of commerce are going to come to an end.
That's right.
And when it starts back up again, yeah, you know who.
It's going to be in favor of us.
Oh yeah.
That's a fact, bro.
So with Estevanico the Moor, it literally blows out the water. Again, like I was saying, it blows it out the water when people say, well, Africans didn't explore first. How do you know about the customs and practices of the inhabitants of America if you had never been here first?
Whoa, that's, you know what that was? That's a stiff arm.
Yeah.
That's a stiff arm. You know, wow.
Yeah. It shuts down every single argument, and I have to put it like this: it shuts down every single argument about Wabo.
Ooh.
It shuts down every argument about, well, you guys came over the land bridge, and you came over from here. It shuts down every argument.
Yes.
It shuts it down because we have been conditioned to believe that only the Europeans were smart enough to seafare.
You got it.
When they got it from us, they didn't even know how to build ships.
Man,
Got it.
I mean, I'm gonna get late in a later presentation.
The Phoenicians were seafaring way before they even thought about coming out of caves.
I was just about to touch on that because, I'll get deeper into it on another presentation. But the Phoenicians were traveling here to the Americas. They were mining copper in Michigan.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I wish you had a
and that's when that was in the Bronze Age.
Oh man, he getting it in.
Yeah, bro.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
So that
Talk about
that
it,
right
boy.
there even further blows out of the water that, well, Europeans came here first. Nah, there wasn't no indigenous Africans. What are you talking about? My ancestors are the only indigenous people. Well, you might want to do a DNA test, maybe. I don't know.
You just
See
might.
how much African ancestry you got in you.
You just need to.
You just might.
Next slide.
Yeah. Next slide, man. Let's go, bro. You cooking. Brother cooking. You cooking.
We have the brother Gaspar Yanga.
Oh, Yanga,
Yanga.
that's right.
Come on, Yanga.
He was born in 1545, and there's a question around when he actually passed form, but I believe the date that they have agreed upon would be the year 1612. But that's the reason why there's a question mark next to it, because there's no actually definitive timeline of when he actually passed form. Now, Yanga was born in Gabon, Africa, and brought to Mexico as a slave. Yanga led the first successful rebellion in the Americas. In the late 16th century, Yanga escaped enslavement, indigenous and African enslavement, near Veracruz, Mexico, and led a group of escaped slaves in a rebellion against Spanish colonialism. In 1618, Yanga signed a peace treaty with the Spanish and founded San Lorenzo de los Negros, America's first free town for Africans and indigenous peoples in the America. Today, the town of San Lorenzo de los Negros has been named Yanga in honor of Gaspar.
That's it. Bro, just read it again. If you just read it again, bro.
I got you. And this is, bro, this is the first successful. We know that there's been many rebellions. This is the first successful rebellion. Gaspar Yanga, was born in Gabon, Africa, and brought to Mexico as a slave. Yanga led the first successful rebellions in the Americas. In the late 16th century, Yanga escaped enslavement near Veracruz, Mexico, and led a group of escaped slaves in a rebellion against Spanish colonialism. In 1618, Yanga signed a peace treaty with the Spanish and founded San Lorenzo de los Negros, America's first free town for Africans and indigenous peoples in the Americas. Today, the town of San Lorenzo de los Negros has been named Yanga in honor of Gaspar.
Just stop right there, bro. Just stop right there. They distinguish the Spanish and the indigenous right here.
From each other. You know what stands out? You know what stands out to me too?
What's that?
The Spanish had to sue for peace. They had no choice but to give them that peace treaty.
Ain't that something?
Boy, they had to be rumbling in the jungle. They had to be
rumbling in the jungle. Oh man.
So them to be like, you know what?
Listen here.
You go your way, I'm gonna go mine.
Right.
Whoa.
And that's a short bit of time now.
That's something. We'll put this up here in just a few.
That's
our brother knows. Our brother Naraine-El knows all about that, brother Sheik 7.
I bet he does. Look at what he. Come on,
brother Naraine-El, look at your phone. Look at what I just sent you.
Yep. Oh yeah. No, Grand Steve. I'm gonna definitely be getting into that too.
All right, so all right, go ahead.
and it's maybe not in this presentation, but I already have another PowerPoint that I'm working on right now. This is the thing, is that you have to really dig to find that information.
Yes.
They really want to cover it up. And the fact of the matter is, you have Egyptian gold found in burial tombs all across the Americas. You find what's known to be only found here in the Americas, cocaina, inside pharaohs.
Correct.
You find peacock feathers.
Exchange.
Yes, sir.
Trade. Vast trade systems was happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Well, where are ostriches indigenous to?
What was that?
Where are ostriches indigenous to?
I'm not sure. I believe they're indigenous to Africa.
People need to look into that. Animals tell stories, stones tell stories, plants tell stories, everything tells stories.
That's a fact.
You know, even the fact that, you know, put it like this. There are over 4,000 words that are interchangeable between Spanish and Arabic.
Absolutely.
Over 4,000 words. And a lot of people in modern day, don't have any research under their belt, will say, well, that's because there was a mass influx of Arabic peoples that came during the early 1920s. False.
Right.
Spanish was created, sir.
We have cooking styles that have all right, we have cooking styles. There's a I don't remember the exact Spanish name for it, but there's an oven, you know, that is outdoors, you know. And you see that same type of oven in North Africa, West Africa. A lot of the spices that we use in our foods, even today, you find them in what is called the Middle East, but we know that the Middle East is nothing more than North Africa.
That's right.
And West Africa.
Right.
That's it.
Some of those same spices.
They didn't become the Middle East until when? That's our point exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's
right.
Our point exactly. Yes, sir.
Until recently, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
Very recently.
Absolutely.
Now, next slide.
Oh, this heavy. Pio Pico.
The brother Pio Pico, he was born in 1801 and he passed form in 1894. Now, what's significant about this is that when he passed form in the middle of a revolutionary war, the Mexican Revolution. Pio de Jesus Pico was born to Jose Maria Pico and Maria Estaquia Gutierrez, who were part of a well-known Afro-Mexican family in Mexican-era California. His grandfather, Santiago de la Cruz Pico, was listed as mestizo, and his grandmother, Maria Jacinta Bastida, was listed as mulata, meaning they were of African descent. Pio Pico was the last governor of the state of California while it was under Mexican rule. The city of Pico Rivera, California, and Pico Boulevard were named after Pio Pico.
Real history.
Real
history.
No, that's why he said at the beginning, he bringing facts,
wartime,
not opinion.
And this is a thing. This is another thing. You know, a lot of people, you know, just to touch on why we have what's going on today. We have, you know, all these ICE raids going on, anti-immigration, and we have these anti-ICE rallies that are going on. And one of the biggest things that I'm always hearing, even from some of our own brothers and sisters, is why are they flying the Mexican flag in America? They love Mexico so much. Why don't they go back? And to that question is, this is the reason why, because California and much of America belonged to Mexico previously.
Absolutely.
I was just about to ask you
Facts.
about the Alamo.
Facts.
You think the Alamo was just a
All of that was fought because your European wanted to keep their slaves.
That's the fact. That is how Texas was formed, and largely why Texas became a state.
And you see what's going on in Texas now. They still want to keep their slaves.
You got it.
Boy.
Texas fought two different countries in order to keep their slaves.
Correct.
And they tried to hold on. The only reason why they were able to successfully secede from Mexico was because at the time Mexico didn't have the military power.
Right.
And what you see what America had is they had a coalition of military power. They had the French, the Dutch, the Spaniards.
Correct.
So it was just like the Treaty of Hidalgo. You know, the Treaty of Hidalgo is what pretty much gave the land that we now have as a part of the United States of America to us from the United States of Mexico. That treaty wasn't upheld.
That's right.
It was never upheld. And in fact, because they didn't want to give the descendants of slaves, indigenous peoples, and whatever else you want, the Asiatics in general, they didn't want to give us citizenship, which was part of the treaty, and to allow us to retain our lands, which they didn't want to see no landowners keep their land. One of the things they did is they were hanging Mexicans in the thousands, lynching them.
Yes.
Mass lynchings. So, and that's another thing. It really touches me to my core when I see a lot of my Mexican brothers and sisters who will call themselves Chicano or whatever, and they have a problem with our African brothers and sisters. Well, we all suffered the same things under the same oppressor.
For the same reasons.
For the same reasons. Yeah, we think we're better because we're a little bit brighter skinned. And that's a fact. But I'm about to get into that too, because all of that is an indoctrination. We think that we believe that on our own. You know, a lot of Mexicans, a lot of maybe Latinos in general believe that on their own. We just don't do, we're better than that. We'd rather be with the European.
Yeah.
But that's all part of the indoctrination, and it's worked. It worked. So now we got to undo it.
Right.
Yeah.
Next slide.
You got a brother in the chat going with you, brother. Yeah, they're going in with you, bro.
Yo, I just want to say something really quick to all the listeners and all the viewers, right? When I got on, you heard Brother C. Naraine-El say, that's my grand sheik. Listen, I'm learning too right now, people.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I'm learning too, people. I'm learning too. This is all right. Go ahead, Mo.
Juan Francisco Reyes. He was born in 1749. He passed form in 1809. He was appointed as the first alcalde or mayor of Los Angeles, California, from 1793 to 1795. Reyes is listed as being mulatto, indicating his African ancestry. Juan Francisco Reyes was key to Spanish expansion into California and thus was granted ownership of vast lands by Spanish royal decree, including what is now the San Fernando Valley. Reyes was an influential figure in Los Angeles, and his contributions show the multicultural beginnings of Los Angeles. And to that point, there was over 44 what they would call Afro-Mexicans who founded the city of Los Angeles. Founded. So you have a lot of Chicanos or a lot of Mexicans say, "Oh, well, Mexicans founded Los Angeles." And they're true. It's right. You're 100% right. Mexicans did found Los Angeles. Afro-Mexicans. And there's actually a plaque in.
Say it again.
Yeah, 100% Afro-Mexicans founded Los Angeles. Over 44 of them. And there's actually a plaque in Los Angeles that has every last name of the founders who founded Mexico on it, and commemorates the founders. And it might not be talked about a lot, but that's just part of the covering up or the whitewashing of Mexican history. And whoa. I'm going to read these two, my sources, because these are very good papers to read. And it's Black Pioneers, Images of the Black Experience on the North American Frontier by John W. Ravage from the Utah University Press. And Seeking El Dorado, African Americans in California by Jack D. Forbes from the University of Washington. Very, very good papers that they wrote. And what I have up here is just only proving ancestry of a very prominent member, right? The papers dive in deep.
Yes, sir.
Now, next slide, on to the whiteness and how that came about.
Let's go. This gonna be the one.
So this slide has all of my sources on it. The Casta system in New Spain, hierarchy, identity, and legacy. Sources are voices from Latin America, the Casta system, indigenous Mexico, understanding the Casta system, Khan Academy, Casta paintings and social hierarchy in colonial Mexico, Casta painting images of race in 18th century Mexico, Ilona Katsu. The Black Middle, Africans, Mayas, and Spaniards in colonial Yucatan by Matthew Restal. Before Mestaje, The Frontiers of Race and Caste in Colonial Mexico by Ben Vincent III. And Genealogical Fictions, Limpieza de Sangre, which means cleaning of the blood, Religion and Gender in Colonial Mexico. Next slide.
Solid sources.
The definition: the Casta system was a social classification system used in New Spain, which is Mexico, or at one time was called New Andalus.
New Andalus.
It categorized.
Ain't that crazy?
Yes, Lord.
The Casta system was a social classification system used in New Spain. It categorized individuals based on the shade of their skin and national origin. Purpose was to maintain control over the African and indigenous populations and provide a legal framework for labor, taxation, and rights. Historical context: it emerged in the 16th century with the Spanish invasion of New Andalus, or New Spain, and reflected the pale-skinned European views of racial superiority and hierarchy. Now, mind you, I have to say this because there were Spaniards that showed up on these shores that looked just like you and I.
Absolutely.
I do have to say that because I don't want to make it seem like it was only pale-skinned Europeans.
No, see, when we understand what Spaniard is from this perspective, it's also a state of mind as well. So we can't remember that. We can't forget that it's a narrative, it's a mentality. You know what I'm saying? So when we start speaking about Spaniard, and then we just already said this. I'll tell you this. I have one question for Sharif.
Yes, sir.
What language was the Europeans speaking when the Moors got there?
Oh, Europe?
Yeah.
You mean Spain in particular?
Yeah.
So you're talking about like the Visigoths. They were, I believe, I mean, you know, first of all, let me just say this. Most people in that time period were multilingual.
Mm-hmm.
Not like today in the West.
Absolutely.
Most of the world is still multilingual. It's only us in the West that's not. That said, they were speaking various variations of dialects of Latin and some of the Germanic languages. Right? So there's Latin, there's Germanic languages as well. Sure.
Mm-hmm. So what the question is, where did this conglomeration of Spanish come from?
Oh, that's easy. That came from nearly 800 years of African domination of Europe.
All right. That's the point I wanted to make. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go. There we go. All right, brother, keep on.
No, it's good that you said that, because I was going to mention, you know, the reason why you had some of those Spaniards who were part of the colonizing forces was because of the 800 or almost 800-year rule of the Moors or Africans in Spain.
Brother Naraine-El, I would like you to speak to this too. See, you already spoke to, you know, doctrine of discovery, starting with the Roman Catholic Church, and really it was war. And all of you mentioned that was wartime measures against the African powers ruling in Europe. In history, it's called the Reconquista.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want you to speak to more of that began with Spain and Portugal, right? The whole even the color code thing, as we have it today, began with Spain and Portugal. But here's the crazy part. Portuguese and Spaniards during that time, we say pale European, but they look like Brother Naraine-El.
Absolutely.
And then pale Europeans, the Dutch, the English, and the French hijacked it from the Portuguese and began to treat the Portuguese the same way.
Whoa.
And everybody else after that. And everybody else after that got it.
Ain't that something?
That is big. That is absolutely something.
And it's funny because it was it's not funny, but it's, you know, it was the Portuguese who initially gave cause to the transatlantic slave trade.
Come on, brother. You got it.
So they got a whooping right after doing that.
Stupid. No,
it was a little laughing measure. I had to get that out. I'm sorry.
And that's the thing is that that's something else that we have to look at too, because you have in certain parts of South America, you have certain countries, Brazil being one of the major ones, that speaks predominantly Portuguese.
Yes.
You know, and the reason is because they were dominions of Portugal.
Right.
Absolutely.
Colonial power. So, you know, the Portuguese was colonial power too. I heard it said, actually, I think it was a video that the Grand Sheikh posted recently. I think it was like yesterday or something like that. You know, we forget in the term of colonization, we always like to turn and say, well, Britain, France, the Dutch, but we forget about the colonization started with the Portuguese and the Spaniards.
There you go, bro. That's right. That's right. But nobody, to your point, Brother Naraine-El, and for the listeners and the viewers, you know, again, as you've been talking about, one of the reasons why this knowledge, this historical knowledge of the connection between Mexico and the, you know, or Mexicans and the Moors, right, is not known, because it's part of a narrative that the Spanish Inquisition fought and terrorized people to not carry anymore. So there's a war of narratives. You know what I mean? It's a war of narratives. We weren't supposed to know this. We weren't supposed to know this connection. You weren't supposed, and that's why nobody in the West, even in higher education, when they talk world history, they skip over those 800 years in African power ruled Spain.
Facts.
And
they don't want to talk about
it because it would have to expose the origin of Western civilization.
I bear witness to it.
100%. And yes, that's 100%. That is why no one in the West wants to talk about the fact that Spain and Portugal colonized Americas 100+ years before the English. Because you have to, if you talk about that, you're talking about 1501, 1503, which is just a few years after what? 1492.
1492.
And then another question is, how did they know?
That's the other part as well, brother.
Yeah.
Why come straight here after you gained independence via the capitulation of Granada in 1492?
So how did you know?
And that's another thing too. When they talk about the wars that took place, you know, we always hear in history about the Crusaders, the Crusades, the Crusaders, the Knights Templar. But they always shroud in mystery who they were fighting.
Correct, brother. Don't want to talk about it.
I never want to talk about it.
This goes so deep, bro.
I have a question. Now I heard through some Vons that during those war times in different parts of South America and dealing with Mexico, that they pretty much turn temples into cathedrals. Is there some truth to that?
Absolutely.
They actually built. There's a famous church. I can't remember the name of it right now. I'll make sure I have it for the next presentation. But there's an actual church, a famous church in Mexico that was literally built, like right underneath it is a mosque.
Yes.
Now, how does a mosque exist in colonial times when Islam didn't exist here?
Come on now.
Hello.
Come on now.
Hello.
And that's another, man. I've done some research. There's Ottoman era Arabic that has been found inscribed on stones and tablets all throughout the Americas, from North to South America.
That's right.
All over.
That's right.
Ottoman, I have to say Ottoman era.
Oh, you say
so Ottoman, you gotta remember that's late.
Ottoman
That's
era?
late time. That's more contemporary.
Yeah, is it Ottoman Arabic?
Yeah, Ottoman era. Yeah, it's more contemporary.
That's what they call it.
Right. Right.
Don't get it.
That's really serious. That's serious stuff.
Yeah.
And it's real, because the thing is that there's proof, especially, you know, in the northern parts of America. There's actual proof in the northern parts of America, but I wouldn't be surprised if we could find it throughout all of the Americas, that the Spanish had to teach the indigenous population the Bible in Arabic.
Okay, to your point, dear brother, this is interesting that you say that. Christopher Columbus and his son Ferdinand, in their journals,
I got to hear this,
mention numerous times of running into natives and having to get interpreters that spoke Hebrew and Aramaic. It's in their journals.
That goes back to Estevanico the Moor, knowing about the customs and practices of the inhabitants here already, and becoming key. That's one of the whole, and he was just one of many. That's one of the reasons why they were able to pass so peacefully. Come on now, I've said this all the time. We had some of the greatest civilizations at that point in time that were at its peak in the Americas. And you think that they would see an entire fleet? They weren't explorers. You don't come exploring with armor and knives and muskets.
No,
Whole bunch of these ships
came
coming
ready
up on your shore.
you
You're not
somebody was
trying
there.
to start war.
Right.
And they'll write it off. I've read it already. They'll write it off. They say, well, they were fighting each other. There were all these tribes. They were savages. They were just fighting each other. So they didn't have time to fight the Spaniard.
Is that true?
But we can also say this: everywhere we fell, we was already at war with each other.
There you go.
Facts.
Everywhere we fell.
Yeah.
Right.
Even on the lakes of America.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To the shores of Africa.
But
That's how we
seven. There's some really interesting history even in North America related to what you just said right there. Right? It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's and I can't verify this. I cannot verify it. But I remember early in my learning about Moorish history, I had heard that there was a battle on the Great Lakes in the 1700s involving Moors. Now, that sounded pretty fantastic to me. And let's just keep it a buck. It still does sound fantastic to me.
Mm-hmm.
But they said it happened off of Lake Erie.
Mm.
Well, I remember it, brother. Let me tell you, I remember driving to Cleveland, Ohio in the summer of 1991 when I first began my Moorish studies, summer of 91. And I remember driving to Cleveland, and we drove through Erie, Pennsylvania. You could do it to this day because I've seen it numerous times.
Mm.
There is a town off the coast of Erie, Pennsylvania. Guess what it's called?
Huh.
Moore's Headsville.
Well, what else you got to say?
I'm not joking. The town is there.
What else?
It's called Moore's Headsville.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Me too.
Ain't no strange happenings. We
Right.
got
No,
a
there's
town
not.
down here.
Look into that right
Edge
now.
Moor.
While y'all talking, keep talking.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a town out here called Edge Moor.
Mm-hmm.
Not too far from where I live at.
Wow.
I mean, there's a street out here in Utica that's named Blackamore Lane. I mean, there's proof all over the place if you know where to
Especially
look.
the mountains.
Where's Moore's Headsville at, Sharif? You said in Cleveland, Ohio?
Nah, Moore Headsville. It's a region in Erie County, Pennsylvania. I just pulled it up.
Oh, whoa.
I gotta take a restroom break real quick.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Check your
Hey,
phone.
yo.
I just texted to you.
Hey, Sharif,
Yes, sir.
tell me something.
Mhm.
When we start speaking about this particular, area of information, right?
Yes.
Why does it? And I understand that that the thinking and the perspective that we've been forced to be under for so many years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why is it for even those who love to romanticize the ideal of us being rulers over the planet, so to speak, right?
Yes.
Which we were.
Yes.
Which we were. But why does it seem so far-fetched for them in their minds that they can't grasp these particular measures?
It's narrative. See, narrative is like the circumference.
The box.
It's the box that contains your frame of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's the box that says you only go this far and no further with your thought. So I've given this analogy before. Remember back in the days when, before social media, where people would do family things like build puzzles?
Yeah.
And remember
I did
those landscape puzzles that have like 2,000 pieces?
Yeah, I did it.
And the worst thing in the world that could happen is you dump the pieces out of it and then lose the box cover. Because you have no perspective. You have no narrative.
You don't have no reference.
No point of reference. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
Think of that box picture as the narrative. Now you get each piece is data, is information. Now you know where it properly goes.
They took the box.
There you go.
And left you with the pieces.
So when you get a piece like what we're talking about now, you don't know where it fits because it doesn't fit in the narrative you've been given.
Facts.
That's why.
Reshaping and renewing of the mind. People.
Right. Right.
Oh.
And that's why we were given a mighty prophet.
Come on now.
I would have known none of this if it wasn't for the Prophet Noble Drew Ali telling me who I am and showing me the way.
See?
Absolutely. Created a balanced universe with the $3 super chat. He said, we are the rulers now if we stand together in it.
For sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But see, now we're being tried. Here it is. I was literally saying this to my students earlier today. We're being tried, right? We're looking at the end of a narrative. It's outlived its use. It's gone the way of the dinosaur. But guess what? We accepted those teachings too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We took the poison too.
We accepted them too.
We are part of those who were cast out.
Come on, bro.
Accepted them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we're suffering from the wrath of Allah. And what is the duty of a prophet?
Save nations from the wrath of Allah.
See what I'm saying? And that's where we are right now. And so, but here's the trial I was talking about. We grew up in a world where we have to do 3 times as well to be recognized, to be halfway recognized.
Yeah.
We grew up in a world where at best we're considered second class. And the accepting of the teaching is this part. We grew accustomed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So we grew accustomed to a boot on our neck and how to move and shake with that boot on our neck. So now in 2025, the boot is getting removed. So we're being tried with that. Are we going to stand up or are we going to act like we still got the boot? Because that's what we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So he go another thing, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
What is the boot?
Ooh, come on now. Come on now. I can see what the prophet said in the ultimate, in the greater sense.
Yes, sir.
Our prophet said it this way. That's why he created the balanced universe. Our prophet said it this way. He said, the European is helping me. Why not you? It is your problem.
Not his problem, yours.
Yours.
Islam created a balanced universe. He said, I gave you everything to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Guess what that do? Take away excuses.
Yeah, and when he said he gave us everything, that doesn't mean a just add water pop-up universe.
He gave you something to add on to and build upon.
That means he gave us dirt, rocks, mortar, and tools.
Now you do the rest.
Now you build
it. Ooh, Brother Anael-Bey, he touched on Matamoros.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That they sainted him.
They did. Santiago Matamoros. That's right. That's right. Santiago.
Right.
Yep. A town in. Shout out to Brother Anael-Bey. He said there's a town in Mexico called Matamoros. Right. The Spaniards reported these indigenous peoples being of Moorish descent. Later in contemporary history books, they changed it from Santiago Matamoras to Santiago Mata Indios.
because they had to keep controlling the narrative.
You got it.
Indios and Moros.
As right.
But we could see in the knowledge that I have now, I can see Moros or Indios as interchangeable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moors and Indians.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Listen, brothers, I gotta run, man. Man, y'all keep cooking, man. This is beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Brother Naraine-El, I am super duper proud of you, bro. This is your lane, man. Do your thing. This is your lane right now.
I'm gonna do my best, Grand Sheik. I appreciate it.
I love you, brothers, man.
It's love, bro.
Nah, bro.
Peace.
Hey.
So next slide. There we go. You read my mind, bro. Some of the major Casta groups, right? We touch on those real quick. Españoles means Spaniards, or Peninsuleras, Spanish-born elites holding top positions in government and church, the Catholic Church. Creoles, Spanish descendants born in the Americas with roots in Spain, with slightly less prestige than Peninsuleras, right? Because they had no attachments to the so-called motherland, as they would say. Indios, indigenous peoples, the peoples in Americas when Spaniards arrived, often referred, notice I said the peoples, I didn't make no distinction. The peoples in America when the Spaniards arrived, often referred to as the original inhabitants, recognized under colonial law, but still forcibly enslaved by Spaniards. And the reason being is you couldn't tell the difference. And that's what we've been, that difference. You could tell the difference. Nah, well, Africans weren't here. They were here, and you couldn't tell the difference. If you look at that picture in the right-hand corner, that's from the late 1800s. Mexicans. Negros, Africans. While many Africans were brought to New Spain during the slave trade, many were already found here, assimilated into indigenous culture. Just already found here and had already assimilated into indigenous culture. So that means when the colonizers showed up here, the Spaniards showed up here, and they saw somebody who looked like as dark as you brothers and as light as me, we were all indigenous to them. They didn't see no difference. But they had to divide us into caste systems to make us feel different.
Yeah.
Mixed rate. Next slide.
All right.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I was working in a warehouse and I was working with some Mexican brothers, and my man came through with the curly top, and I was like, bro, you gotta have some African in you. Man, he showed me his aunt and uncles. Man, they look like me, man, froze and all, bro. I couldn't believe it.
I'm telling you, my biological father was real dark, real dark olive complexion, and then my mother, she was what we would call yellow bone,
God created the boundless universe. $3 super chat. He said Moors and indigenous. Absolutely. And he said Moreno. Absolutely.
100%.
Yes, sir.
Mixed race categories. Mestizaje. Mestizo, Spaniard and indigenous, often able to gain certain statuses. Mulatto, Spaniard and African, worked in servitude or artisan roles. Zombo, indigenous and African, the lowest caste in this category.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have no European in you, you was treated the worst.
Boy.
And you notice I put that sign, and this is a sign that used to hang in a business in the state of Texas. And you notice they put the dogs first. We were lower than dogs. We were lower than dogs to them. No dogs, no Negroes, no Mexicans.
Wow.
So how is it, again, I'll say it again, how is it especially because I grew up in Southern California, where there is a big racial divide between so-called black and so-called brown. Why is it that we're fighting each other when we were all the same not 100 years ago? 100 years ago, we were viewed the same way as less than.
Change, man.
Whoa.
It has to change. The narrative has to change. And if you don't want to, it's going to change anyway. So it's better to change with it than to be left behind with that old mentality.
Facts.
Absolutely.
It's better to be saved than to catch the wrath.
Facts.
Because the wrath is sure to come. We're already suffering from it. Next slide.
Honors and gratitude to Louis Anael-Bey, $2 super chat. He said, that's what it says. And the mod squad is in the building. Honors to Louis Anael-Bey. The mod squad is in the building.
Yeah, honors to my brother El Serrano-Bey. For sure. Other subcategories, Castizo, Spaniard and Mestizo, Morisco, Spaniard and Mulatto, Chino, Mulatto and Indigenous. And other examples are Lobo, Coyote, Salta Atrás. And just as a reminder, all Casta terms were used to reflect European prejudices and influence prejudice between the so-called castes. So that's the basis of whiteness throughout the entire Latino or Chicano community, especially in the Mexican community. That's the basis of whiteness. That's where it comes from the Casta systems, and it's been passed down. It ain't ours. We didn't think about it ourselves. We didn't create it ourselves, and we got to give that narrative back. 100% have to give that narrative back. It ain't us. It didn't come from us.
Absolutely.
And that's why, I chose the two pictures that I have there. I couldn't find a better flag to represent other than the Moorish flag, obviously, but one that would speak to modern minds, I guess you would say, people that recognize the RGB flag and the Mexican flag, right? And I chose that, and then the banner, brown people for Black power. Why? Because we have to. We have to unite. We got to erase the prejudices. And that's what I'm trying to do with these, presentations and PowerPoints. And this is just the first, inshallah, of many.
Yeah. I love it.
The prophet, the prophet he was like what I was speaking about earlier, he was reported to have gone down to Mexico, just like he went down to Cuba, and I believe that the work that he did there is probably similar to the work that he did in Cuba. And we have to continue that work. And the only way to continue that work is to continue to work for unity.
Absolutely.
Next slide. Oop, that's the last one.
Oh, that's the last one. Let me see.
Yeah, you got to go back one. Oh, you must not have it. Yeah, you must not have it. I'm just gonna read it. I must have sent you the PowerPoint before I added this. I'm gonna read what I have here. Return of land and rights to the indigenous and Afro-Mexican populations. On September 30th, 2024, Presidente Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo amended Article 2 of the Mexican Constitution to recognize the rights and return of the lands of all indigenous and Afro-Mexican populations in Mexico. The amendments were written into law on October 1st, 2024. And on January 1st, 2025, they took effect, effectively returning their sovereignty to them and giving them the right to rule over themselves. Not only that, but on October 1st, when she made the statement, she had a speech. In that speech, she said that Africans have been coming to these shores, she said, to Mexico longer, she said, for hundreds of years before Columbus ever set sail.
Mm. Mm.
You know, and I don't know if we can find that speech with like English subtitles or not, but you can look up the speech. For those of you who are watching who know Spanish.
Mm.
And that's, for me, that's huge because it's known that, you know, the Presidente Claudia Sheinbaum is of Jewish ancestry. And the fact that her last name is hyphenated Pardo. And we talked about that earlier, what Pardo meant back in those days. It was meant as a slight, as a derogatory term towards those who were of mixed ancestry.
Mm.
Next slide, last slide for this presentation. So, of conclusion to part one is what we can conclude from the information presented, that using African slaves as interpreters, etc., between the indigenous populations and the European colonists is significant because it shows a connection between Africa and America pre-colonialism. We can also conclude that European colonists had prior knowledge of this connection because they used enslaved Africans to invade the Americas, and therefore successfully created and employed the Casta system to create division. They knew that we were together. They knew that we had a historical connection to one another. They knew about it. And I think Sheikh Seven had mentioned that earlier. They knew. How did you know to come here? Because they already knew.
Also, coming back on what you're saying too, a lot of people don't realize too, they use the Buffalo Soldiers to quote unquote civilize the West. Cuba, the Panama Canal, you know, all those uprisings in those areas, they utilize the Buffalo Soldiers to make way.
That's 100%, and that's actually something I was talking about in a conversation a few days ago about the Buffalo Soldiers. You know, because on one hand, you have those who know the struggles that the Buffalo Soldiers went through, and on the other hand, you have those who don't know the struggles and just see them as colonizers as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they weren't colonizers. They were stolen too.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, because if we want to look at it just like we were talking about Reyes, the first mayor of Mexico. Didn't he work for the Spaniards too?
Mm.
That's how he became a mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, it's a thought. We have people that look just like you and I that came from Spain and Portugal and the Iberian Peninsula as invaders, as colonizers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're just trying to give that narrative back. And this hopefully can show for anybody who is watching that has Chicano or Mexican descent, you know, can show that why we need to stop fighting with our brothers and sisters, descendants of Africa. We're all the same. And if I could, I wanted to read, if it's okay.
Go ahead, brother.
Always okay, brother.
I wanted to read chapter 45.
Get out my head. Get your hand out my pocket, brother. Brother, say
get your hand out of my pocket.
You know, the divine origins of the Asiatic nations, because we're all Asiatic, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America, and in this case, I'll say South America, need to learn to love instead of hate and to know of their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who were the Hammatites and a direct descendant of Mizraim. The Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese and Chinese. the Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites from the land of Canaan. And this is where it's important for this specific show here. Divine Instruction 5. The Asiatic nations and countries in North, South, and Central America. The Moorish Americans and Mexicans in North America. Brazilians, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America. Colombians, Nicaraguans, and the natives of San Salvador in Central America, etc. All of these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad I, the founder of the uniting of Islam by the command of the universal God Allah. If it wasn't for this chapter right here, I would have never jumped down the rabbit hole.
Islam.
All praises to Almighty God Allah and honors to his prophet, Noble Jew Ali.
Islam.
And honors to the forerunner of the prophet as well, Brother Marcus Messiah Garvey. I would have never known. I would have never jumped down the rabbit hole. I would have never started researching. Like I said, when I came into the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the knowledge of Moorish science, I came in kicking and screaming. I didn't believe a word of it. And I know that there are those who are watching or might watch in the future that might not believe a word of it. And I implore you, go jump down the rabbit hole. Go research. Go study. And you will have your mind blown.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Brother, I don't even have to say that was a great presentation. I don't even have to say that. But I will say that. Great presentation, beloved. That was a beautiful presentation. And we got to get number 2.
Oh, yeah.
I'm working on it now as we speak.
Well, brother, as soon as you get it ready, come on.
I got you. And we're gonna dive into the connection between Mexico and you know, the Iberian Peninsula and that one.
Absolutely.
What they say, he said a mastermind can trace himself back, and thus he knows, right?
Backwards through the age of time, thus he knows. Absolutely. More. We most definitely appreciate this one. I need number 2.
Yeah, I'm ready for number 2 as well.
Yes, sir. I need number 2.
I came in late. I apologize for my lateness, but I had other calls.
Brother, the whole show was late.
I was about to say
that. Hey, listen, bro.
But there's no happening.
I said in the beginning, bro. I had the incident. I don't know who else locked their keys in their vehicle.
Hey, Mo. Hey, I done it at the airport one day, so I don't even feel bad, G.
Man.
I don't even feel bad, G. I done it at the airport. So just imagine, I'm at the airport.
I did it at the store. Bro, it's like, but guess what though? Praise be to Allah. This is only a sign of victory.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's all this is, a sign of victory, brother. Because one thing I understand is this. Every great thing that transpires comes with difficulty.
It does.
That's why I know this is a great one. Because situations and circumstances placed in front of me before I got here was like, ugh. But we here, and we got
there's spirits moving right now to try to move, keep us from doing what we're doing. But greatness will always prevail.
Oh yeah.
Praise be to Allah. Allah is leading on, and victory is most definitely sure.
That's a fact.
Absolutely. So we've been on 145, and it's like 11:30.
Oh yeah.
It's time to go.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
To all the listening audience, remember to hit the like button
And share. Please share.
and share. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And what I will say is this right here. This should open you up to the vastness of Moorish history. Because Moorish history is world history.
That's a fact.
Take that. Take that. Take that. No Diddy. But hey, listen. We out of here. We out of here. It's live.
It's live.
It's live. It's live. We love y'all. Peace and love.
Peace and love.